This is 7506 at the transit center.
Hello, 7506. I got your priority. We have one.
There's a passenger here who came up to me and they said they wanted me to call 911 because their phone died, and but he wasn't there's nothing wrong with him. They think there's going to be something wrong.
Okay, so he doesn't know why police need to be called, but he has no other information?
Yeah, that's exactly what I got from the conversation.
Okay, well, they're not going to respond if there's no reason for it. If you can question him a little bit further, maybe, and then call me back if he comes up with anything that they should be called for?
Okay, I'll do that. I'll let him know that they won't respond. Thank you.
You're welcome. And if he is able to come up with anything for you, just get back to us and we'll help out. All right, 1841.
This is 7506 at Milwaukee Transit Center.
Hello, 7506. All right, I got your priority. Is he telling you anything?
So yeah, I think he's worried he's going to commit suicide or something. But he's trying to commit suicide on the bus now. He's wrapped his belt around his neck and choking himself.
Okay, can I get his description? I'm calling 911 now.
He's a white male, about 25. He's got a beard, black cap, black shirt, blue jeans, and black shoes. He's about 5'10", probably weighs 250.
Okay, copy that. I'm calling 911 now. Just to keep me informed if he does anything further, and we'll get him taken care of.
Okay, I'll let you know if anything worse happens.
1844.
7506.
Hello, 7506. 911 and medical, they're on their way there to you. Is he still trying to strangle himself?
Yes, he is. And I think he's succeeding.
Oh, okay. So does he have it attached to anything, or is it just his belt that he's putting around his throat? He doesn't have it hanging from anything, does he?
No, he just has it wrapped around his throat and he's holding onto it. And if he passed out, I would take it off. But every time I try to touch it, he pulls it tighter.
Okay, all right. They are on the way. They should be there very soon. But yeah, if you do see that he does kind of pass out, yeah, try to get that off his neck. But I'm sorry, that's a very difficult situation. But yeah, just try to coerce him to stop doing it when you can, if he's going to be responsive at all.
Okay, I'm going to give it a try now.
Okay, I'll let you go, and we were sending right to your way.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the state of the country we live in. Forget about Ukraine, okay? Forget about that. The latest psyop to bombard our brains in the never-ending war against our minds, perpetuated by the ruling classes. This is right here. We have our own Ukraine. But nobody cares. I don't know what's the matter with people. I just don't get it. Does anybody know what a nightmare is going on out here? I mean, they just distract us with everything else so you can't see the nightmare right in front of your face. Anyway, let's continue with this nightmare of ridiculous crap. Jeez.
To actually the consent agenda and then the resolutions. Items appearing on the consent agenda are considered routine and may be approved by the board in one blanket motion. This morning, we just have one agenda item, and it's the minutes from our January 26, 2022 meeting. Is there a motion to approve the resolution? And I need you to speak your name because I may not see hands raised at this point.
This is Keith Edwards, so moved.
Thank you, Director Edwards. Is there a second?
Thomas Kim, second.
Thank you, Director Kim. Does anyone wish to make a comment or a correction on the minutes?
I see.
Hearing none, I'll ask for the vote. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. The motion carries. So now we'll move into the resolutions. We've got a number of resolutions today, and the first one is Resolution 220204, adopting a revised investment policy that Director Baumann mentioned was previewed in the Finance and Audit Committee today. Mr. General Manager, your comments.
All right, thank you. Again, President Simmons, members of the...
Stop for a minute. Stop. Let me find it. Where are we? Oh, here it is. Okie dokie. Adopting the revised investment policy. Oh, yes. The current investment policy approved by the board in September 2020 states the board will review the policy on an annual basis as required by state law. This review is required because the board has ultimate responsibility and authority for the investment of district funds, which we have found out is close to $1 billion sitting in their investment account. $1 billion fucking dollars. This policy establishes the rules and guidelines which TRIMET funds can be invested in, establishes a framework for accountability, oversight, and reporting. Yes, sure. Okay, background. TRIMET's investment policy is updated on an annual basis, where the policy notes significant changes from one year to the next. The investment policy is submitted to the Oregon Short-Term Fund Board, whoever the hell they are, part of the Oregon State Treasurer's Office for review and approval. Policy changes with this update were not substantial enough to require the review. Okay. So, and then a whole bunch of baloney here. This is all the financial, their bonds. This is all part of the goddamn baloney. Okay, let's listen to them. I'm not going to read all this nonsense. But I mean, they're talking about the issuance of TRIMET bond. And, that's part of the international banking cartel, which every governmental agency supports. I mean, the world is actually run by the banks. We think it's the government, but it's actually the banks. And the banks get their money, guess from where? Well, actually, the banks create money out of thin air. The Federal Reserve, in this case, in our country, and then they loan it to the government. Okay, this is exactly how it works, too. They create it out of thin air, they loan it to the government, and the government spends it, and then pays them back with interest. The whole system is a giant fucking scam, people. It's one giant scam. Based on nothing, created out of nothing. But somehow, they've psyoped the entire world into being okay with this. And here we are.
Board. The first
news flash. Got to read. We got a Jason news flash. Got to stand by for the Jason news flash.
Train 84-6 in Davis. Train 84. Train 84-6 in Davis. Bus 3558. I just wanted to compliment them for getting over and allowing me to get into 6 in Davis. It's been a while since the bus has done that, so I just wanted to give them kudos.
Here you go. Your TriMet family all working together to make that system work.
First resolution to come before you today seeks adoption of TRIMET's revised investment strategy. This is in response to the current investment policy adopted by the board, which states that the policy will be reviewed annually in accordance with state law. A copy of the revised policy is available online and in your packet for review as Exhibit A. It includes a brief summary of changes. There is no financial impact associated with this resolution. I recommend your approval.
Oh, guess what? It'll be approved, but could be close though.
Thank you, General Manager,
General
for
Manager.
your comments. Is there a motion to approve the resolution?
This is Ozzie, so moved.
Thank you, Director Gonzalez. Is there a second?
LaFern Lewis, second.
Thank you, Director Lewis. Does anyone wish to make a comment before we vote?
Yeah, right.
Hearing none, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Boy, that was close. Woo.
Thank you. Motion carries. We'll go to the next
All right.
resolution.
We'll do another one. Usually I like to just do one at a time, but that was so easy.
Which is Resolution 22-02-05, authorizing a contract with Summit Strategies Government Affairs, LLC, for federal legislative services. Mr. General Manager.
Okay. Wait a minute. What the heck, man? Open this up. Okay. Here it is, right here. This is this one. This could be interesting. Listen, TRIMET receives a significant portion of its funding from the federal government, primarily the Federal Transit Administration, an agency within the United States Department of Transportation. In addition, TRIMET has significant interest in the continued funding through appropriations by Congress of public transit as a whole. Key to securing funding is the cultivation and utilization of productive relationships within the federal government, both on the administrative side, DOT, FTA, and on the legislative side, Congress. This contract will help ensure the public transportation interests of Portland metro area are generally, and TRIMET specifically, are fully represented at the national level. Okay. So what this is, ladies and gentlemen, they're hiring a lobbyist. Okay, they're hiring a lobbyist to lobby on their behalf for the pork of the federal government. Also, 12-year-old going. Ooh. A source committee comprised of staff from TRIMET, but this is what they do over there, man. They all sit around, all these big shots, all these six-figure execs. They sit around a table and they decide who to give their money to. That's why their jobs are such a tough job they have. They've moved themselves up to the top level of the parasite class, where they don't actually do anything, but they decide who gets the money. So they have a staff from public affairs, engineering, construction, as well as one member from TRIMET's business planning and asset management, and reviewed the proposal. The evaluation criteria, qualifications of the proposer, qualifications of the staff, workforce diversity, of course the diversity, approach and methodology of proposer's work plan, and price. After evaluating the proposal, the two proposers were shortlisted to the competitive range, and the SEC opened their proposals. The SEC then determined that both finalists would be. Each firm was asked to attend an interview, and blah, 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 overall scores. So, Summit proposal was the highest scoring and represented the best value to TRIMET. So they're hiring a goddamn fucking lobbying firm, man. The SEC, which that's the committee, also felt that Summit thoroughly demonstrated its ability to respond to the regularly changing landscape of the federal government, and it would be able to represent TriMet's interests more effectively. Oh my God, what a fucking capitalistic crony nonsense. Let's listen to this.
President Simmons, members of the board, this resolution allows us to contract for federal legislative services. As we start to receive significant funding from the federal government, it's critical to maintain productive relationships with the Department of Transportation, the Federal Transit Administration, and those in Congress. This contract will help ensure that the public transportation interests of the greater Portland region, and specifically TriMet, are represented at the national level. For this contract, Summit Strategies Government Affairs, LLC, emerged as the highest qualified proposal responding to TriMet's RFP process. Its proposal was the highest scoring and represented the best value to TriMet. Summit has established relationships with the FTA staff, Oregon's congressional delegation, and other members of Congress. In addition, Summit stood apart from other proposals with a presence in both Portland and Washington, D.C. The proposed contract is for a 5-year term for an amount of $1.18 million and is covered in the Public Affairs Division annual operating budget. Summit has 10 employees, and of those, 20% identify as minority and 30% identify as female. I request your approval.
Thank you, Director, or General Manager DeSue. Something that I wasn't aware of previously was that the agency has had a representative for federal legislative services.
I wasn't aware of it either, lady. That's the first time I've heard of it. So what is this, brand new thing or something? I don't understand. I thought that's why you had congressmen and senators. I thought that's what they do, right? You elect your congressman, you like Blumenauer and what's the other guy's name? Whoever he is. Isn't that what they're supposed to do? They represent your interests, right? I guess not. I guess you send out some pork to some private firm to go down to Washington and represent you. How about you represent yourself? I don't really understand it, but yeah.
For the past 5 years. So this is a new contract, but it's
new.
It's a practice that the agency has had in the past. Director Way, you have a comment.
Thank you, President Simmons. Yes, I just have a question, just maybe for members of the public who may be listening in.
Yeah.
And this may be for General Manager DeSue. But can you just explain what might be the type of federal legislative services or asks that this particular firm would be representing for us at that level?
I'll start, guys. Kim, if you can elevate Tom Markgraf up as well. We have a possibility of a large infrastructure bill that's coming in front of us. So we would need someone in Washington, D.C., kind of going the hallways and actually talking about the projects that we are doing here at TriMet and the greater region.
And that's why you have congressmen and senators. So I don't get this at all. I don't get it at all. It's a waste of money. I don't get it. It just seems completely like we got so much money we don't know what to do with it. We're going to hire somebody to go play politician for us when we already got politicians.
Like battery electric buses, the infrastructure changes that we actually need here, the bridge, the tolling processes, everything that's related to us in the region and also to TriMet. Is Tom elevated?
Isn't that what you're supposed to do, Sam? I mean, don't you have staff that does this? I mean, everything is remote anyway. You don't. I don't get this, man.
I think I am.
Okay, you are.
Okay, there we go. Hi, Director Way. You know, this is a really critical time with the infrastructure bill because while Congress has just passed the bill, the rulemaking process is now just starting. And so this is a critical time for us to work with the FTA in establishing, how the rules are written and how allocations can be made. So As one congressional staff person said to me, you know, Congress's work is done. They've passed the bill already. Now it's the time to implement it. So this access and their connections and knowledge of how the FTA functions and how rules are written is really critical.
Director Way, I would also just note that to your question, what are the people on the phone going to get from these services, so to speak, our riders? And it quite literally is helping us connect the dots in Washington with the funding. We actually just had a workshop 2 weeks ago to really look through what money is available and how we can go after it to bring more service, better amenities.
You got shit service! Stop talking about more service when your service is shit. Fucking losers.
To all of our riders in the district.
Fucking parasites.
Thank you, staff. That's super helpful. And if I may, and you may already have this in your plan, but just for me, speaking personally, I think it'd be great just to get, you know, just regular updates on just these efforts that are happening.
Idea. How about you send a goddamn report every week about exactly what you did for this money? Because it sounds to me like you're just getting money for nothing. Here, go down to Washington and represent us. Here's your $1 million. I mean, it's 5 years, so one person, $200,000 a year. Why can't you just hire your own person and go down there? And again, that's why you have congressmen and senators. Okay, they represent you to Congress.
What our government folks are doing, and just so that we have a sense of what's happening. But really appreciate this work, and I will be voting for this. So thank you.
Of course you're voting for it. Of course you're voting for it. What, was there ever a chance that you weren't going to vote for it? Of course not. Stop gaslighting us.
I just want to say to you also is that I'll be talking to President Simmons, so we'll do some education sessions here with this as well as we move through this year.
Yeah, great.
All right. So is there a motion to approve this resolution?
Keith Edwards, so moved.
Thank you, Director Edwards. Is there a second?
Kim.
Lori Bowman, second. Let's see. I heard two things. So who wants to claim the second?
Anybody.
Lori.
Director Bowman. Okay. And does anyone else wish to make a comment before we vote? Hearing none, I'm going to call for the question. All in favor?
Aye.
And sign opposed?
Nobody. How about
Thank
that?
you. The next resolution.
All right, enough of this nonsense for now. I mean, God, it's just pathetic.